Hi guys, it's me, I'm back, and we're reading It's the Dog's Life, and we are on Chapter 9, The Mysterious Ivory Dog Bar. I dived into the tunnel and wiggled my way through to the other side, and then I held my breath and I listened. The pickup came down the alley. It slowed, and then it sped up, and it kept going. I had dodged another bullet. My sister wouldn't have been too proud of me if I'd got her kid's throat in the dog pound. The pups came running up to me, jumping up and down, yipping and licking me on the face. You know how pups do. They were all excited. "Oh boy, Uncle Hank," said Roscoe. "That was the funnest thing we've ever done." "Yeah," said Spot. "We like being cow dogs. I can't wait to tell Mom." "Hey, wait a minute. Hold it right there, son," I said. "Something tells me we'd better keep our adventures to ourselves. Your ma might take a dim view on it. Mum's the word, kids." They all grinned and nodded, and for the next 15 minutes they went around whispering, "Mum's the word," to each other. Not long after we got back, Maggie came out of the doghouse, said she'd had a nice long nap and her head was feeling so much better. She asked what we'd been doing while she was asleep, and I said, "Oh, nothing much. We had a little snack and did some singing." She stared at me and kind of twisted her head to the side. "Really? Singing?" "Well, I must say that surprises me." I must say she'd been even more surprised if she had known where and how and why we'd been singing. But what she didn't know wasn't going to hurt her. "You've got some very talented children," I said. "Yes, sir, they sure do a good job singing, especially them girls." "Well, thank you, Henry," I confess. "Well, I just didn't think you cared about culture and refinement. Maybe I've underestimated you." "It's certainly a possibility, Mag. I mean, just because I've been trained as a dangerous weapon doesn't mean I can't appreciate beautiful music and poetry and other stuff." The kids were pretty well tuckered out by our garbage patrol in the cat episode, and they stretched out on the yard and took naps in the sun. But every now and then, April and Barbara would sit up and go to scratching. Maggie noticed, and about the third time it happened, she went over to check them out. "Barbara, what are you doing? April, why are you scratching? You know that's not ladylike." For some reason, the girls looked at me. "Oh, nothing, Mom," said April. Maggie moved closer and squinted her eyes and studied Barbara's hair, and she gasped, "Fleas!" Then April scratched behind her ear. "You too? What? Where?" For some reason, she looked in my direction. Why was everybody staring at me? I mean, anyone can catch fleas from a bunch of scroungy cats, but it wasn't my fault. Mag turned back to Barbara. "And furthermore, young lady, you smell like dead fish. What on earth have you girls been doing?" Well, they started crying, and I guess they'd never had fleas before and thought it was something horrible. I couldn't hear all that was being said over there, but I had a suspicion that my nieces were spilling the beans. And I had another suspicion that a storm was fixing to strike Uncle Hank. Maggie gave the kids a stern lecture and sent them to bed in the middle of the afternoon. Then she came over to where I was and counting my change, you might say, and trying to look as innocent as possible. "Listen, Maggie, let me explain. I just thought..." "No, it's all right, Henry. I understand." "You do?" She gave me a sweet smile, which sort of surprised me. "The children talked to you and talked you into taking them on a little romp." "Well, and you were so nice and you couldn't say no." "Well, yes, but..." "And you told them to stay out of the garbage and to leave the cats alone, but they didn't." "No, they didn't, Maggie. And so they've come home stinking and covered with fleas, which is just what they deserve." "Well, Mag, I didn't want to, they're awfully sweet kids." "But kids will be kids. Right, they sure will, but I hope you're not mad at you. Why, Henry, how could I be mad at you? I see what you mean, Mag. You're right. How could you be mad at me? I dodged another bullet. I kind of hated for the kids to catch the blame, but what the heck? They were young and they would survive. Well, Mag asked if I was hungry yet, and I said yes. As a matter of fact, I was. And she said that was great because she had a special meal just for me. And now the children that were all tuckered out, we can have a quiet meal and talk about old times. As you can imagine, I was delighted to see Maggie in such good spirits. She brought me some supper, said it was a new kind of dog food, and she'd been saving it for special occasions. It sure looked odd to me. Well, I shouldn't say odd because that sounds too critical, but I'd be the last guy on earth to criticize my sister's cooking. It was different, though. Where your ordinary run-of-the-mill dog food is brown and shaped of kernels or biscuits, this stuff was pure white and shaped in a rectangle, more like a bar than a biscuit, don't you see? And it had a different smell, too. Where your co-op dog food had a smell of stale grease, this new brand had kind of a perfumey smell. Mag brought the pretty red dog bowl and set it in front of me, and then she dropped that bar of dog food into the bowl. It hit with a clunk. Hey, that looks great, sis. I think you're going to like it, Henry. Sis, nobody wrestles up grub like you. I mean, food just seems to taste better at your place. What do you call this recipe? There's the name right there. And she pointed to the bar. And sure enough, it had a name on it. Ivory. Ivory. Is that it? Ivory Dog Bar. The children just adore them. Well, by George, if my nieces and nephews say they're good, they're bound to be good. How do you eat this thing? I mean, when a guy's in town, he wants to do things proper, don't you know? Yes, one does. Oh, you just take a bite of it and chew it up. Sis, I can't tell you how glad I am to see you laughing again. I mean, that headache business really had me worried. It makes the whole trip worthwhile just seeing you laugh. Thanks, Henry. It's nice of you, too. She started laughing again to say so. Yeah, it's great. You know, it's kind of reminds me of the time me and you were down at the septic tank chasing a butterfly, as I recall. You remember that? I sure do, Henry. The butterfly landed on a weed out in the nasty green water. And you leaned over the water. Yes, and you pushed me in, she laughed. I laughed. Sure as heck did. Boy, did you hate that. And do you remember how we laughed about it? Go on with your supper, Henry. Yes, I sure do. Yeah, we just... I took a big bite out of that dog bar and started chewing it up. Say, that stuff had a strange taste. Real strange, nothing at all like co-op. Sis was watching me. How do you like it? Huh? Oh, the dog bar? Hey, it's super, Mag. It really, the first bite is out of this world. That pleased her. I'm so glad you like it. I would have crushed it if you hadn't. Right? No, it's just a little different. Mag, you know me, I'm always anxious to try something different. How sweet. Well, take another bite and go on with your story. I bit off another hunk. Well, there we were at the sewer up to our briskets, and I could hardly believe my eyes. A big old bubble came out of my mouth. It grew and grew, and then it popped. Mag was staring at me. Is something wrong? Did you see that? See what? That great big bubble that came out of my mouth? Oh, Henry, you're such a tease. Just for a moment, I thought you were